Welcome to Shruti Out Loud, a podcast where I invite guests from different walks of life to share their stories of following their passion, success, and happiness, which in turn motivates our listeners to follow their heart. Hi, welcome to another episode of Shruti Out Loud podcast. And as you know, we keep bringing you stories, we keep bringing you things that inspire you or educate you to how to live your life, how to make the right decisions, how to make conscious choices. And that's what Shruti Out Loud podcast is about. And for today's session, we are going to touch a topic that I don't think so, to be very honest. I have ever heard about it or or even heard other people talking about it. So I'm really glad that we are doing this on this session today. So let me start with a little intro of what we are really going to do today. So um, we have the opportunity to recommit ourselves to making the world a better place, thanks to the theme of the World Mental Health Day celebration in 2022, also which happens in this month, the month of October. So the theme for this year, for the year 2022, is make mental health and well-being for all a global priority. And I think it's a much needed theme in the world that we are living in right now. So, Lexicon Rainbow Therapy and Child Development Center in Pune offers counseling and testing services for parents of children with special needs. And as I mentioned that, I haven't really heard a lot about this topic, so I'm very keen on taking this ahead. So, this center, this Lexicon Rainbow Therapy, they help kids with autism, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, Down syndrome, global development delay, speech and communication disorders, and cerebral palsy, to name a few. With advances in the medical and pediatric fields, it is possible to diagnose a child very early. Early intervention can make a huge difference and change the course of a child's further development. This will have a major impact not only on the child, but the entire family's mental well being as well. So, today we have Dr. Isha Soni, Senior Occupational Therapist, co founder, and center head of Lexicon Rainbow Therapy and Child Development Center. And she is going to address the topic mental health of parents of children with special needs. So, let me bring her on board and let's take this conversation ahead. Hi, Dr. Soni. First of all, let me thank you for being a part of this session and spreading out knowledge, which is much required and much needed, and which is not really talked about. So, thank you.
My pleasure to be on board with you and also to spread awareness so that we can reach a maximum people and sensitize them about this topic.
Absolutely. I think it is a much needed information, much needed topic for the time that we are living in. So, I would like to start off with the very basic, the very first question to sort of, take this ahead. So, what do we mean when we say children with special needs?
Yeah, so see, as the term goes, children with special needs is children who need special assistance due to various reasons. So, they may be lagging in motor milestones, that is physical milestones, maybe they have difficulty walking or climbing stairs. So, that is one. The other aspect is speech delay. So, children who have difficulty communication with communication, talking in day-to-day life. So that is about the speech delay. The other delay is like, the social understanding, or if the child is finding social skills to be able to, be an important part or an active part of the society. So, that is like what we will say as social deficits, or it becomes like a social challenge for the child. So here also the child needs special assistance. And the fourth one being cognitive understanding. That means, the concept development or the concept understanding of the child. So these are all the four developmental domains that we talk about a child. And when a child is finding any of these things, either all or even any one of this, then we call it as children with special needs.
Absolutely. So, Dr. Soni, my next question for you would be, how soon can it be seen in a child, and how can parents help their child deal with it at first?
Yeah, so it can come to the notice of parent at any time. It depends on what the situation is. So many times we have preemies, that is, premature babies. So with those children, they are always put at high risk for development. So, because they have, you know, um, been born before expected, the development is
Mhm.
always delayed. And many times we see that these children, they kind of struggle, or they have had very traumatic birth. Maybe the oxygen supply to the brain was not efficient during birth. So then these children, they are at very high risk of having speech and motor delay. So these parents, they are on toes right from day zero with the child. And if even if the child has missed one or two milestones, so say by month 4 or month 5, so ideally a child is supposed to have a good head neck control by 1.5 months, 2.5 months. And then when the parent kind of sees that, okay, it's been 4 months now and the child is still not able to do it, so then they start taking therapies. The other very common condition or the topic is autism. So the symptoms of autism, they come to the fore for the parent around age 1 year, and some parents or some children, they kind of show symptoms around 18 months. So then that's the time that they start doing it. And it again also depends on the type of condition that the child is having. So some defects or some conditions are present right from birth, which can be identified at birth. For example, Down syndrome, or for example, cerebral palsy. So then for all this, the intervention starts from the beginning. The pediatrician itself or the neonatologist does counsel the parent that your child will need help for his growth. So that's how it varies condition to condition.
Right. So, next, I want to come to the main topic that we are really talking about here, which is the parents. So, now we come to the question about parents, and everyone is always concerned about how the child is doing, how is he or she recovering, or is he walking or talking yet. Nobody really thinks about the mental health of the parents of these children. And how do parents handle it?
Well, it's a very, very tough task. So, when parents they come to us for the assessment of a consultation, I think more than 60-70% of the times we do, see parents who are extremely tensed. They cry. While we take their birth histories, or when we are talking about the child's development, they end up in tears with worries and concerns about how the future is going to be, what their child is what kind of life the child is going to lead. I mean, the questions are endless in their mind. For children who have motor skill challenges, so for a child who has cerebral palsy, that parent is always going to wonder, is my child ever be able to walk? For children who have autism and who have not been able to have access to early intervention, or wherein maybe they were in denial for a long time and they kept on waiting for the child to be okay automatically, or talk by himself. So then when they come to us late, say at age 5 years, 6 years of age, so that's the time when the parent feels, is my child ever being able to talk or communicate with us? So such are the concerns of parents. And actually, it's the parent who's struggling, because the parent doesn't want to leave any stone unturned, any leaf unturned for their child. And keeping behind all other priorities, their priority becomes the child. I have seen so many mothers, or even at time fathers, who have to give up their successful careers, and they have to be like totally dedicated towards their child's therapies and progress. And even schooling is a big challenge for children. So till preschool everything seems and looks good and nice, but then once it's the time that the child has to go to a primary school, say grade 1, many times the other schools, they don't accept the child. So they struggle with the child, and the parent struggle is real in every aspect, be it school, be it social. Many times children have meltdowns, so going outside socially becomes very embarrassing or challenging for the parent. So going to a birthday party, or even for going for a family dinner, going for a movie, all of this becomes very challenging, and the parent kind of they feel isolated. There is a lot of I think we'll come to that topic later. I want to talk about social taboo and stigma as well.
Right. Because from the conversation that we are having right now, I can imagine that, it is a day-to-day challenge. Like every day, there is no really, respite from it. Like this is how it is, and this is how they have to deal with it on a daily basis. So, Dr. Soni, could you tell us a bit about the therapies that can help these parents?
Yes, so see, the therapies are many, and as I told, no parent wants to leave any kind of stone unturned for the child. Many times they fall trapped to therapies which are not evidence based as well. So just because they kind of hear it out from someone, or they have read about it somewhere, they are like, okay, let me try this. But I always urge and insist parents that they should always go in for only evidence based therapies. So the evidence based therapies are occupational therapy, sensory
Mhm.
integration therapy, speech therapy, and special education. So these four are actually the evidence based therapy, and of course, not to forget psychological services, be it for
Right.
the parents or the child, and even ABA therapy. So these are the therapies that are available for children. And again, it depends on the condition of the child, that what challenges or what delays the child is facing. So if it is speech and communication, then the child is recommended to undergo speech therapy and communication therapy. If the child is very hyperactive or has sensory issues, so then the child needs to see an occupational therapist. If the child has severe behavior issues, then the child needs to go to an ABA therapist. And many times for parents who need to understand and need more guidance about how to handle their child, then they need to undergo counseling, parental counseling services.
Right. So now let's talk about social stigma that you mentioned just before this.
Yeah.
So could you tell, let's what kind of social stigma comes with it and how it affects the parents?
So, see, I think now the times have changed a lot. So now we have children, we have mother toddler programs, and we have children going to daycares, right from age 2.5, 3 months of age as well. And then that's where a social community starts building for the for the mothers or for the parents and for the child.
Hmm.
So they kind of start comparing, okay, is your child still talking, or oh, why is he not yet walking? My child has started doing this, he started addressing me as mama, this is my child's first word. We have every month these days, the generation of today, the parents these days, parents, they even like cut a birthday cake for every month for the child, for the baby, till the child turns one. So there is so much of social media pressure also, I would say. And even though we are within the confines of our home, but still our life is like an open book to everyone due to social media. So there is a lot of pressure that, okay, my child is not talking, not walking yet, or is not looking to me in my eyes, or he's not responding, or he's not behaving. So this is the kind of social taboo and stigma that is attached. One is due to the constant comparison, and second, when the child is actually, maybe, the child, suppose he's gone to a birthday party or a family dinner, and the child is finding it very noisy, or the child is not liking the new place and so many people around. So actually, the child is being, facing a sensory overwhelming situation, but which gets interpreted by others as bad behavior, or that the child is not obedient, not listening, the child is having meltdowns. So certain children, they are very sensitive to loud sounds. And of course, in a birthday party, there are balloon bursting, there are party poppers and whatnot. So then the parent are in a very fixed kind of situation, and they find it very embarrassing because others start staring at the child. There are many questions that the parents have to face. Oh, why is he doing like this? Oh, he doesn't like it. Maybe he's very sensitive, he's very delicate, such kind of comments the parents come across. There are also the parents, they also face a kind of stigma or a taboo from their own families. So there are high expectations from their own parents, grandparents. And there are some families who, where everyone is a scholar, or they are like very successful, and then when they have a child in the family who is showing any sort of delay, so it becomes, people actually start finding reasons as to why has this happened. Many times, the mother kind of is, held responsible for it, or you did this wrong during your pregnancy, and that's the reason we are in this situation today. So the parents, they the mother, the female herself, she also starts getting isolated. I have had parents in my experience wherein they have stopped going and visiting their own set of parents, because the grandparents of the child, because they don't know what to say and will they accept it. So that's the kind of stigma or taboo that is attached with it. And even when we talk about day to day life, it's something as simple as going down and playing in your apartment or society garden. The other parent will tell their child that, okay, you don't play with that child, that there's something odd about that child. So there's a lot, I think, the taboo and the stigma is, it surrounds the child from all aspect.
Absolutely. So, Dr. Soni, here I have a question that I would like to ask you. Could you maybe tell us about some signs, some early signs, or some signs that, can help parents understand that, maybe their child, uh, sort of, his needs are special and it needs to be addressed that way. So some signs that, are easy to see, easy to sort of, recognize, but because they don't know. So could you help us out with that a little?
Yeah, so over here I see there are two pictures. One is sometimes the parents are really not aware that, okay, my child is showing any kind of delay. And the second sign is that, again, these age parents, they are very, very well read about, at what age, what milestone has to be attained by the child, but they are not ready to accept it, and they are in a phase of denial. So, there are two pictures to it. So for the first scenario, where the parent really doesn't know, because it's their kind of first time, they have become parent for the first time, and many times they are staying in a nuclear family, and they don't have anybody else to guide them. So in that case, I would suggest the parents to not miss their regular follow ups with their pediatrician of the baby, because the pediatricians will know, and they would actually be of great help to alarm the child, alarm the parents, that, okay, like, now this is something really concerning, that we need to take, a further help or a further call on this. So that is scenario one. Second scenario being that the parent already knows that, okay, the child is not talking, but they are not ready to accept it. And just to mention a few very common signs are, like, your child should start responding, the baby should start responding to the name when the baby is between 7 months, 9 months of age, wherein, like, the child knows that, okay, this is my name and I'm being called upon. The child should start recognizing the mother or the familiar faces in the home, and start giving a social smile. On the first birthday, the child should start talking at least 4 to 5 words, be it mama, papa, any such kind of words. um, Around 18 months of age, the child should start talking two word phrases. So, like, mama water, or mama gumi, any of this kind. And at 3 years of age, they should be talking 3 word sentences. Now, the irony to this is, we get many case histories wherein the parents come and tell us that, ma'am, my child is saying rhymes, my child is saying numbers, letters, everything, but he doesn't address us as mama or papa. So that is very, very important. So it's not, and, like, every child is different. So it's not like we have the same set of symptoms for every child, but it is very important that the child should be communicating, the child should address mama, papa, all these things. And of course, motor delays is something which I think everybody can easily recognize. But what usually goes missed are the signs of autism. The child should also start pointing to his or her body parts by age 1. The child should also start showing things of his or her interest to the parent, what we call as joint attention. So these are a few signs which the parent should not miss. And in case they feel that there is a delay, then they should definitely take help, because they are the only ones who can change the course of development of their child. Unless they don't seek help, the baby will not grow out of it automatically.
Right. So before moving on to the last section of this session, I have one more question that I think I have seen amidst my friends who have kids, and these are the conversations that we hear. So nowadays, what really happens is that parents, they, even when a child is say 1 year old, or even 6 months, 7 months, they have started giving these kids access to either phone or the iPads, or things like that. So, and usually what is happening is that because of that, also a lot of delays are happening, because the child is not really socializing, the child is not
Right.
really interacting, and is totally glued to the screen. So, I would like to know your thought about the same.
Yes, so the American Association of Pediatrics, it strictly says zero screen time, 0 minutes of screen time for children 0 to 2 years. And I tell this to all the new parents who I come across, because these 2 years, the first 2 years, are very, very crucial for the child to develop her or his milestones. So, if the child, many times the intent of parent is not wrong. The intent of parent is that, okay, the child is loving to watch nursery rhymes, and what gets tagged as educational videos, that is what the parent usually, that's the reason they give the mobile to the child, that okay, my child will learn letters, numbers, my child will be entertained by these nursery rhymes. But I tell all the parents, and I again urge them strongly, you be the source of entertainment for your child, and do not make the mobile the source of entertainment for your child. Because from ages, like, right from the time human race is there, we never had all these gadgets, and yet all of us have had a wonderful course of development. Intelligence is not something that will come from mobile. It is first important for the child to walk, talk, and learn to be social, then be intelligent academically. These days we consider only academic intelligence as intelligence, but I believe a lot of importance should be given to something called as emotional intelligence also, and like being sensitive to the other people around. Because today's children are tomorrow's, they are going to be the future generation and the major workforce globally. So we need to sensitize them in a correct way with good emotional intelligence. And it's a strict no. 0 to 2 years is a strict no, as recommended by American Association of Pediatrics.
Right. So here I would like to share an example that my friend, she had a baby, and I think she was an year old or so. So her grandmother would just, give her phone or something to, okay, just basically to pass the kids' time. So my friend really drew a boundary here, and she completely refused that no, I am not letting that happen to my kid, and my kid is not going to get any screen time, and she's very tiny right now to even look at such things. So but I really appreciated that part when she was sharing that thing with me, and I told her that
Yes.
sometimes age should not be a reason to sort of just stop yourself from sharing what you think and sharing what is right. So I just wanted to share this one example with our
Yeah,
audience as
so
well.
even I would like to share, and this is like from my own personal life, and like a real example wherein my mother-in-law, she has had 5 children, and she tells me very proudly, like, I have learned more ways of bringing up a child from you, more innovative ways of bringing up a child from you than the way I have raised my children. And I think we should put our foot down for whatever is in the best benefit of our child. So no screen, like, because our parents or our in-laws, they are not aware about these developmental delays or concerns which the children are showing up these days. And they always have a good intent of entertaining the child, but it kind of just flashes them out in another way. So definitely we should put our point across.
Absolutely. So, Dr. Soni, before we end this episode, is there anything that you would like to share with the parents? Any tips or any suggestions that they should know or think about, or yeah, just be aware about?
Yes, so I would say that, once they have embarked on a beautiful journey called parenthood or motherhood for that matter, they should not be, overtly aware. We get to see the other side of it also, where, certain parents, they end up into helicopter parenting. So that is not what we want to encourage. But yes, we should pay attention to the milestone development of the child. Go to your doctor, like, go and get the correct source of information rather than just browsing online. And in case you see a delay, it's better to err on the side of caution than to repent later on. And early intervention works wonders. So if your child is in the right hand, a lot can be changed. Because the first 3 years are super crucial for the child's development, and even if there is a delay, they should not get shattered by it, but start working towards it, because they are the only ones who can bring about the change in the child. So I would just, tell, I would like all the parents to, hear about this.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Soni, for taking out time and sharing all these the pointers with our audience, and to sort of make them aware of how they can deal with it and how they should move ahead in this process. So thank you so much for being a part of Shruti Out Loud podcast, and I'm sure that our audience is going to appreciate all the information that you shared.
Yeah, it was absolutely my pleasure, Shruti. Thank you for this opportunity.
Sorry. So yeah, I first of all, thank you for watching this, hearing this, wherever you are. And I hope this episode is going to help you out and answer some of your questions. And we'll be back with more episodes on more such topics to create awareness, to create a world wherein you are living the life that you want to live, with all the passion, with all the love, and with all the knowledge of leading a life that you want to live. Thank you so much. See you next time. Shruti Out Loud welcomes all stories. It can be a brand, it can be an organization, or it can be a person. The only thing common would be passion for life. Please subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Ghana Podcast, and every other platform where you can hear this. Please leave a review, as that helps my podcast to grow. Thank you once again. See you for the next episode. Bye.